Right now, you're probably looking at the crypto market thinking, damn, everything has fallen. This is not a fun time. What should I be doing?
Bro, I'm straight up not having a good time.
Now, in my opinion, it's always pretty simple to make a decision here. And that is, if I'm not sure, I just keep on buying. And if you're right now going to tell me that you are too afraid to do that, then...
You know, and I'm not judging you, but I'm just saying everybody else is gonna.
And now, I can't guarantee that right now is the best time to buy because perhaps we're going to go slightly lower. But what I do believe is if we just keep it up, it'll have been a very good decision in due course. And so hear me out. What I think the best decision is going to be right now is to really just go crazy on these altcoins. Not to quit, but just go absolutely crazy to the freaking bone. Okay, that took way too long to make. I think the point is quite simple though. We're just looking at our most exciting narratives and buying the freaking dip till the end. Because as I've stated now 4 times, I believe if we look back at this in a few months, that the sectors we are most excited on will do extremely well. But generally speaking, cryptocurrencies as a concept will just blow up in a positive way. And it's just this manipulation that's trying to keep you away from it. But I think most people deep down in their hearts that are at least watching this video do believe that crypto will get bigger than it is today. And if that's what you also expect, then it doesn't make sense to fade it, to not buy, to be afraid that things are going to collapse. Because again, to me, it just doesn't really make sense. Having said that, as you guys know, I am extremely bullish on the AI sector. And every single time there's a dip, I go for it fully. You guys might call it stupid, but just to put it into perspective, AI is one of my top AI coins. A little bit earlier today was sitting at 73 cents. Right now, sitting at 87 cents, an amazing flip. Even Fetch, to put it into perspective, has gone from $2.30 to roughly $2.60 over the past couple of hours, and rendered the most well-known of AI GPU type of cryptos from 1040 to 1140. Not too amazing, still 10% though, and that marks my point. If you have these sectors that you're bullish on, in my opinion, the best thing to do is just commit, because I think ultimately it is the best decision. Anyway, so AI is a sector I'm extremely bullish on, which is why I keep buying these coins. For example, RSS3 I'm really excited about, and there's many that I keep talking about here. I think another area that is really undervalued and really interesting is the real world assets. Some of the coins have popped off today, but I think they've just not really popped off yet as a concept, meaning a lot of coins that are here right now are still relatively low to where they're going to be over the next few months. I think a lot of you guys remember in one of my live streams like a month ago or so, I talked about ATR and why I believe that was an exciting opportunity. And ever since that stream, the price has done like an 8x or so. I think it was roughly a month ago that I did the stream. I'm not quite sure. I've talked about it a few times on Twitter. I've retweeted a lot of their stuff because the idea was they're in the real world asset space, have a pretty solid mission and no marketing. It's a pretty good one at like less than $1 million market cap. And that's kind of what I'm going for in this type of market as well. Right now, people are fearful to go for the riskier of projects, and that's fine because you've still got a couple of months to really dive into it. But right now, kind of similar to how I went with Solana, you have those opportunities to buy a lot of projects at 1 million and ride the wave up easily to 100, 200 million. But again, if you're doing so, you have to make sure that you know they're doing something, something worthwhile and something that has the bullish narrative behind it. In this case here, real world assets, and specifically on the Twitter, you can see the first NFT marketplace for art, real world assets based on Solana. So it's got that Solana hype factor, real world asset factor, and the fact that it's easy to understand. And if you want to check it out, I've got a link down below. But having said that, I think the most undervalued sector by far right now is GameFi. Everything crypto gaming related. One of the coins is, for example, Pixel, but there are many. There's always, right here, right? There's always going to be criticisms, but I personally think if you see kind of through it, you whittle through the weeds a little bit, you understand when some cryptos are good, when some cryptos are bad. I think this one still has a very good rise to go. Last night got to roughly 62 cents, right now up roughly 10% as well, maybe even more, 15% or so, but still relatively little to how much the gaming space is going to be doing over the next few months. And again, the reason I'm telling you guys this now is because all these sectors are down a lot. The last time Beam was at 4.3 cents, right now at 3.2. It's a significantly better deal, especially knowing that Beam was just now at what, 2 point something maybe? Yeah, here you can see 2.92. So you're getting yourself extremely juicy discounts on the prices of last week. And again, the goal is not to make money on it tomorrow. The goal is to get yourself good entries for the longer term, or at least that is my perspective. One of the other ones I like a lot is MINA. But again, if you just, honest truth, right? If you just close your eyes, scroll through this list and just buy 5 coins, I think the probability of you winning is very, very high, but higher if you stay away from the top of the top. So out of the top, yes, I kind of like them all. Sandbox and MANA are a little bit more dependent. Same for Axie Infinity. Those 3 I would kind of skip a little bit quicker. They'll still do really, really well, but I've not bought any new of that. And you can kind of see on the right here as well, the monthly performances and just kind of see what's hot. For example, Echelon Prime picked up really, really nicely. And I think to really get this narrative stronger, it's better to take a 90-day chart rather than 30 days. Because I mean, the last week and a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks have been kind of bearish, as we can see from the chart here up top. But it gives you a glimpse into what's really not that hot just quite yet, or which had some interesting history, like Portal, for example, had after launch. And one more thing I'll say is, many people in the comment section have said, Dusty, which exact coins are the best to buy? And I've got multiple lists on that, but honest truth, nobody really knows that for sure if you're just buying 1 or 2 or 3 tokens. And it also depends on how long you want to hold it for. If you have a really short time span, then I think it's best to try focus only on coins that are just launching and try to get into it before the launch. If you have a middle time span, so a few days, few weeks, perhaps a month or 2, then go with whatever's hottest right now and hope that Bitcoin doesn't have a major crash. And if your time span is, let's say 8, 9, or maybe even a year and a half, 8, 9 months to a year and a half, you're pretty much fine with anything because it's very, very hard for cryptos to fail in this time span, in my opinion. And so all we're trying to predict is what is going to drive the next hurdle of people in. And more importantly, once they're in, like for example now with some of these memes, what's going to attract them? Which is why I always tell you guys, go for easy to understand sectors. DeFi, etc. You have a DeFi summer, mostly by people who already understand the game, and those are the ones pumping it, not the game as in, people who are already in crypto, because DeFi is hard to understand. At some point though, the retail got a hand of, hey, this cake thing sounds good. But generally speaking, people who are new to crypto don't actually do anything in DeFi. Even people who've been in crypto for years, most people don't do anything in it. So it's better to go for the idea of, if somebody enters the crypto space, right? What would they go for? What sounds logical to them to make them money? And what did they most connect with? AI was one of the most hyped up concepts. Anybody wanted to get into the ChatGPT, open it up, made sense. Gaming beforehand was really, really hot because everybody understands gaming and understands there's a ton of money in that. Real world assets, well, if BlackRock says they're going to tokenize everything, then this is again where we try to be ahead of the curve, invest heavily because we know what's coming. But that's again a longer scope. Whereas AI is right now and gaming is kind of always. But then some other sectors to look forward to are the BRC ecosystem, the Bitcoin layer 2s, things built on Bitcoin. And for right now, I'll just leave it at that. Please understand, I'm not saying that this was the final dip. Bitcoin could go a little bit lower, causing altcoins to bleed more. But I think what you've seen today in most of these crypto coins in terms of a price recovery is what you should hold dear to your heart, which is if you just keep buying your way down. For example, you had one buy there, and one buy there. You could have still, on average, made money on the way up. In a bull market, this is almost always the case. Sometimes it takes a few weeks though, or a few days, but generally speaking, right? Let's say you bought there and the price only went down. So from the 27th, for example, for a couple days in a row, you were feeling sad, but you caught the dip. Right now, your average price went from 4.14 to roughly, let's say, $3.95 or something. And then a couple days afterwards, you would have been in massive amounts of profit. Similarly right here, let's say you bought first at $4.50. You might feel really, really bad in the next few days, especially as the price went down to $3.60. If you bought it heavily though, a few days later, you'd basically be at almost double your money. Just to put in perspective, a top coin, NEAR, literally went from $3.50 here on March 6th to roughly $9 on March 15th. So even though it's 18th in the ranking, one of the biggest ones, it tripled in just a few days. I want you guys to keep this in mind, that even though they're large caps already, they could still do significantly better, so don't be afraid of those. The lower caps, if they're not going to do 100x, I kind of skip them, because what's the point, right? Either go for solid projects which are almost inevitable to do well, or I go for riskier ones where it's like either 100x or 0. But hey, that's just my style. I like the risk. Some of you guys don't. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you press that like button, and more top coin videos will be coming your way. So just stick around. See you guys again in another one.